My guest for today is producer, writer, actor, caterer, Rick Sudi Karatas. Rick is the author of Rainbow Relatives, Real World Stories and Advice on how to talk to kids about LGBTQ families and friends, and how catering sucked the life right out of me. He is also the writer and producer of the film Walk a Mile in My Paradas. Rick, welcome to the show.
Mark, thank you. Good to be here.
You are a man of many hats. I know you are a writer, producer, actor, caterer. Which one of those is your real passion?
Definitely not the catering. Definitely not the catering. Right. Oh, writing. I don't even have to think about that. I love writing. Like you said, I write songs, sketches, but it's like breathing to me almost. Like I have so many ideas, and I could be half asleep on my bed and I have an idea and I have to pull out my phone and record onto it. So definitely writing. I like acting a lot, but I love writing. And producing, I just do out of necessity. Yeah. So
Having worked with you on the catering floor, I would say definitely writing too. You are always thinking about something, coming up with some funny joke, some little story, some little song. So I would agree with you on that.
yeah. I think I came up with many quotes while catering, and I put those in the book actually.
That's right. You
Those,
even wrote a book about it, which
yeah,
we're going to get into.
yeah.
What are some of the different avenues that a writer has available to them to solicit their work and carve out a living for themselves as a writer?
Yeah, well, you have to sleep with the right people to get your material out there. No, um, there's a good resource for writers called Inktip that kind of put together producers and writers that are looking for certain producers looking for certain kinds of scripts or genres, and so that's kind of a good. I haven't gotten anything through that, but some people have read my scripts through that, and
Hmm.
some people have gotten their scripts made that way. So I definitely recommend them. Through people, if you can get it to, actually, I have a literary agent. It's good to get a literary agent for whatever you're doing. So for my screenplays, I'm working with someone through someone else that got my, if you know people who have a literary agent and they can maybe refer you to them, that helps.
How is that process like? How do you nail down a literary agent?
Well, it's hard, and depending what it's for. So there's a literary agents for, let's say, scripts and stuff. So that was through someone I catered with. Actually, had a literary agent, and he referred me to them. So they're working with me a little bit. Um, so, and again, it's so hard to find literary agents. And now for the books that I put out, the first one I got a literary agent for that, the Rainbow Relatives book, and then the literary agent got a publisher for that. But that's a lot of work to get to the literary agent. You have to send them, a query letter. I read a book called Writer's Market, which is excellent. That comes out every year, and they list all publishers and literary agents and all that kind of stuff.
You
And
had
what they're
this. You had a different agent for your book than your screenplays.
Yes, yeah. There's some agents that do just only do books, and then some literary agents do screenplays and movies. So yeah, so the first book, Rainbow Relatives, I published through Skyhorse Publishing, so I actually got a publisher and went that route. And then the second book, How Catering Sucked the Life Right Out of Me, was self-published. So there's pros and cons to both, going both ways. Well, that didn't sound right either, going both ways, but anyway.
Well, you're a wealth of creativity, and there's certainly no lack of ideas that you have. But do you work with other people too, or what other ways can a writer go about earning money writing instead of catering?
Yeah, well, it's hard, and I think there was two questions, and it maybe about writing with other people. I think you were at kind of because you asked if I do write. Sometimes I write by myself. Sometimes I use co-writers, and that's a great thing to do. I
Do
have
you have a
co-writers
preference,
because
one versus the other? Do you have any
they
preference?
both have. Sometimes depending on what I'm writing, sometimes by myself, but a lot of times a co-write. You go in places you wouldn't go by yourself, or you bounce ideas off each other, or it forces you to even look at something a different way. So you can get a lot better writing sometimes with co-writing, and that includes scripts or songs. Actually, a song I co-wrote, which is out now, called "When Donna Sang Last Dance." I co-wrote that with David Sanchez, and I had the idea for it at a Bob Esty um, tribute thing after he died. He wrote the song "Last Dance," And I was at that event, not catering it, thank God. I sang a song at it for some reason, the pre-event. I wasn't at the actual thing, and I haven't sang anywhere in public forever. And I don't know, somehow I was at this thing, but I had the idea for the song of a couple that their first dance was to Donna Summer's song Last Dance, and they're still together all these years later.
Huh.
So I brought the idea to my friend David because he's really good with melodies and that kind of thing. So I had half the lyrics written, and he did the melody and did the other half lyrics. And we got a recording by Collaborati to do it, and it's now on iTunes and Spotify, and a few radio stations were playing it. So it's like a tribute to Donna Summer, but also to Lasting Love. So that was fun to co-write. If I didn't bring it to him, there wouldn't have been a song, because I could only take that so far, that particular song. Some songs I can write by myself. Some scripts, I have maybe 12 scripts written, finished, 11 of them gathering dust on my desk. But maybe 4 or 5 I co-wrote with other people. And so it just adds to it a lot of times when you co-write, especially when you gel and mix together. Like I co-write songs with Artis Olson, and we just have the same minds of like, we wrote a song called A Grain of Salt and a Margarita. Yeah, and stuff. And then we're going to write all these drinking songs together that we co-wrote. But we enjoy writing with each other, and we write certain kinds of songs that are, kind of funny. We both have a sense of humor. So most, up until a couple of years ago, most songs I wrote on my own. And I think I wrote like 8 Christmas songs. I think I wrote all those by myself. One is called All I Want for Christmas Is Some Sleep, and we did a video for that, which was kind of fun. And another one was Naughty or Nice, which was like kind of an erotic Christmas song. Yeah, and as far as you said something about making money, oh, well, in a way, if you're co-writing with someone, that doubles your people to maybe get it to, who might help get the song out there, or get it to producers, or to get it to whatever. So in some ways, co-writing is good too, because now you have their circle of influence of getting the song or book or whatever it is out there.
When you're pitching ideas, it's good to go in with like 5 or 6 ideas, so that if they don't like the first one, you've got more to pitch them. How does that fit in with your writing?
Yeah, that's true. It's funny, when I first wrote Welcome on My Pradas, a friend of mine got it to his literary manager or something, and she goes, "Oh, I like this. What else does he have?" She said. And that was all I had. That was my first script. I didn't have anything else, but that was like a lesson of like, have a whole. So, and then I just started writing after that, and writing and writing and writing. And but you want to have like real estate or whatever you want to call it, a bunch of things. In fact, I went to a pitch fest thing too, I think, where I did that. At that point I had a few, because they might not like that one, but you might have something else that's more up their alley. So it's good to have several, and plus they know you're not just you just wrote this one idea and that's it, but you have, I definitely have more. Hollywood only makes remakes and sequels, so that's my problem. I'm writing all this original stuff. So I put the Fast and Furious 10 on the cover just so they're going to look at it at least. No, but
any sequels planned for Welcome Island, My Paradas?
No, but I want to do a musical to it, like a Broadway or off-Broadway musical.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and I have some original song ideas I think would be cool to go in it, and I don't know when or how or whatever, but definitely not a sequel. I mean, if I did, it would be, I guess, Run a Mile in My Pradas. But
how does one get to be a published book author?
Yeah, it's hard. It's a lot of work. But Rainbow Relatives was the first book. I make it sound like I've written 10. It was the first book I wrote. But that, I got a literary agent first. But to get that, I read a book called Writer's Market. They list all literary agents, publishers, how to write a query letter, which is the letter that gets their attention. It's 1 page. And so I followed that. I sent out like 10 or 12 query letters. I got one literary agent said, "Oh, send me the first 5 chapters," which was great. I was shocked. They didn't go with it, but that was like a good sign, at least, because you can get like 20 rejections, I'm sure, especially on your first book and your first few query letters that you send out. Then if they like it enough, they might say, send us a book proposal. So that might be 20 pages that you've put together of the market of the book, what it's about, similar books that are to that kind of book. They want to know your platform, that you have a lot of followers, that you're all this kind of stuff, because they don't, publishers want to know they're being handed someone who already has a built-in audience. So But that's the first for that book. So it's great that I got that because it's easier to get into bookstores. It gives you a little more clout that you were published. If you self-publish, it could, it could still be a great book, but a lot of people are going to say, oh, but if you got it published, someone else, which I did the second book, How Catering Sucked the Life Right Out of Me. During the pandemic, I was home, and that one I did self-publish because the difference between the two, there's many. If you're published by someone, they pay for all the cover, they do the editing, they're paying for all that stuff, making the copies, all that kind of stuff. When you self-publish, you're paying for all that, and that kind of stuff. But when they publish your book, they're keeping most of the money. So at least when you're self-publishing, you're getting more of it. And you're going to do the same amount of work promoting it anyway, whether you're published by the biggest publisher ever or it's your own, or you're putting it out yourself. So, but they're both, it's also easier to get into bookstores if you're published by someone else. But you can get in bookstores the other way. It's just harder.
But I've heard from people that you pretty much have to make a decision to go the published route or the non-published route. If you go non-published route and then go to a publisher, that it's next to impossible
that's probably true. I mean, there's exceptions, obviously. I think the Shack is an exception. He self-published it, and it was selling really well, and Oprah heard about it, and so that's your exception. If you wanted the other difference too, publishing, if you get it published by someone else, it takes a lot longer. So because you might send the query letter, and then 2 months later they respond, okay, send the book proposal, and then 2 months later, okay, send the book, the manuscript, and then, oh yes, we're going to do it, and then it's going to take them 6 months for a year to get it out there because they have other books in front of yours and this and that. So if you're self-publishing and you want it out sooner, that's a reason to go with self-publishing. And I did that with the second book because of that. It was during the pandemic, and I didn't want to wait a year or two to get the book out there. I kind of thought people need a laugh. They're stuck at home. They're in quarantine. They're getting ticked off. Let me give them a laugh or two. Or actually, 246 laughs are in the book. No, I have no idea. I don't know.
They will get that too. So what a possible reason maybe to get published is just because maybe they can get the book out there. Like, does the recognition from it, will it maybe help you on your next book if you have a publisher and they're getting your name out there because of their resources, and then when you write your second book, you're more well known?
Yeah, I mean, it's more what's that? I forget the word. I don't know the word. If you've published, it's more cloud, I guess is the word. And to get into bookstores, it's easier. So that's the big thing. Anyone can publish a book and put it on Amazon pretty much. But if you self-publish too and you go through Ingram Spark, which I did, they don't just take anything. So if it's through that, bookstores sometimes will order it because they know, okay, it went through Ingram Spark and stuff. But again, you're paying for a lot of cost of the editing and the cover and all that when you self-publish. So there's pros and cons to both. So I feel great that I did. The first one got published, which is great, and then the second one I self-published, so I can kind of give people an idea of the pros and cons of both. And my next book, I do want to go with a publisher again because I think it's a great. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it's for pet lovers with sense of humor. Calendar and a gift humor book kind of thing, but I see that could do really well, and especially if it's through a more published thing. So, but we'll see. I might go either way. Have a great illustrator for that. Nelly Gutierrez is doing the illustrations for the book for me. So, but we'll see what happens with that. I'll come on your show next year when it's out, and we'll talk about it.